As they race inside the final 50 yards, Kyprios wins it.
Kyprios and Brian Moore in front, stretching away with the vintage crop. It's Kyprios turning into a talented young stare.
Kyprios is just annoyed. Stradivaris. Kyprios Aidan O'Brien's all-conquering stare. Came Chase placed on the top step.
Ryan Moore kicks on Kyprios. Kyprios goes clear by a good couple of lengths. He's going to follow up his Ascot Gold Cup success and win his second Al-Shakab Goodwood Cup.
Well, we've seen plenty of stars so far today. It is now time for a superstar. It's Kyprios and Aidan O'Brien, Ryan Moore combining, looking to regain the Comer Group International Irish St. Leger. He's been absolutely flawless so far this season. As 6-year-old, he has 6 Group 1s to his name by Galileo out of Polished Gem, and things have gone very, very smoothly so far. Ascot Gold Cup, you can see all the wins, and very impressive at Goodwood, landing the Goodwood Cup last time out. So, red hot favourite for the Irish St. Leger. That's next, and let's see them in the paddock. Here is Kyprios to begin with.
Yes, runners in the parade ring ahead of our final classic of the season, the Group 1 Comer Group International Irish St. Leger. Here he is, 6-time Group 1 winner, Kyprios, of course. Just getting a little bit on his toes, but that is him. Wouldn't overly be concerned about that, but what a phenomenal horse this is. He bids to win the Comer Group International Irish St. Leger for the 2nd time in his career. He beat Hamish head and neck 2 seasons ago, and a cracking run considering obviously the stop-start season he had, of course, coming back from injury. Lucky to be back on a race course when finishing runner-up to Alderov here last season. But he's 4 from 4 this season. He was a brilliant winner, of course, of the Goodwood Cup, of course, on his most recent start, and obviously, of course, won the Ascot Gold Cup back in June for yet another time. Brilliant winner of a Prix de Cadron, of course, last season as well. Sets a very good standard. He has won over this trip. He's won over further. People may be saying that he mightn't just have the pace to win over this trip. I think he will. I thought a cracking run last season, considering such a stop-start season. He sets the standard here. He will be very hard to beat. He's 2-1 on, so he looks fantastic. A little bit on his toes, but that is Kyprios. Directly in behind him is Vauban. He bounced back to win the Lonsdale, of course, on his most recent start. That was at York back towards the end of August. I actually think this is probably his most ideal trip. He's a strong traveller, mightn't just get home when stretching up over further, but obviously on his day he's a big player. Does need to improve to beat Kyprios. In behind that then is number 6, is Waldaler, of course, one of 2 German runners. Great to have some German representation in it, but both of the 2 German runners need to improve in official ratings. This horse is rated 104, and the other German runner, Nastaria, is rated 100. Plenty to find on official ratings. And try and find Marco Botti's runner. Unfortunately, it looks like he has left the parade ring early. But there are the runners ahead of our final classic of the domestic season here in Ireland. It's the Group 1 Comer Group International Irish St. Leger.
Yeah, looking forward to this. Thank you, Kevin. We didn't get to see Giavellotto today at 5-2. Giavellotto, of course, successful in the Princess of Wales stakes at Newmarket back in July. Comes here fresh. That's how they like it, though. And Kyprios 1-2. Dave, your thoughts on this?
I'm not surprised his 2's on. He's an absolute champion. He won the Ascot Gold Cup over 2.5 miles, but I don't think that suggests that this trip will be any different, because I think he's won over 1 3/4 miles twice already this season as well. He's a top class stayer. Giavellotto, I said at the start of the programme, I'll be surprised if he can beat it. This is his ideal trip, 1.6 miles for Marco Botti's horse, but I just think the way he runs, his ability level suggests to me he's an absolute top class Group 2 horse. And it might be a tactical situation that enables him to beat Kyprios, but I can't see it.
Okay, right, well, we'll find out, won't we? It's always a real treat, this event, and certainly with Kyprios, the way he's been nursed back to his best by Aidan O'Brien. So let's get to the guys, Ruby Walsh and Gary O'Brien for the Irish St. Leger.
Many thanks, Rachel. There is Giavellotto with Oisin Murphy in the plate, just
doing a rein back. Those are dressage horses to be proud of that movement.
There's the favourite Kyprios, conversely, just making his way across nice and calmly there in company with his stable companion, the Euphrates. How big a role, actually, Ruby, do you think the Euphrates could play today?
I think the Euphrates is going to turn into Queenstown, Gary. Obviously,
Giavellotto now dismounted.
Yeah, Oisin is going to walk in forward. I wouldn't disagree with that manoeuvre. But obviously, Kyprios had been used, or Queenstown had led Kyprios earlier in the season at Navan, and Leopardstown made the run-in for him, and Kyprios was able to quicken up and beat Queenstown in both of those starts, with Yashin, I think, was behind him on both occasions as well. But I'd imagine the Euphrates will be doing that work this afternoon as they head across the Vic and make their way onto the Free Eagle to head to the start. I'd say Euphrates will make it. I could see Kyprios sitting second, and then it's whether it's Giavellotto or Vauban, I suppose, that sit third. One will be third, one will be fourth. Two German horses, one of them goes forward. I think it's Wild Dadler that Shemi Heffernan rides. He usually sits midfield, whereas Nastaria that Miguel Lopez rides is usually held up. So I can imagine one of the German horses will be at the back and Shemi will be wherever he is. But yeah, and I look, obviously Ballydoyle are going to try and build this race to suit Kyprios, the tempo of the race. So you can see the Euphrates building this race up as he goes along. I couldn't see him going really quick through the first couple of furlongs, but after going two or three, you could see him starting to increase and build the tempo of it to drag Kyprios as far as he can, drag him down. I'd say Ryan is hoping somewhere close enough to the 2 before he commits Kyprios, who ran good and genuine at Goodwood, but has shown a tendency on occasions to pull himself up in front.
And what about Vauban, Ruby? I suppose it's a bit of a fine line for him today to tread, because Melbourne's no secret is going to be the end game for him, all being well, in 2024. Another look at Giavellotto there, just arriving down at the start with the handlers. Here's Vauban winning, though, in the Lonsdale Cup at York last time. He puts it to bed pretty smartly here before just seeming to think he's done enough, I think, and ends up getting closed down a bit by Tom Clover's horse.
Al Nair, yeah. Obviously down the inside, Knight Sparkle got a good run through on the inside of Gregory, and William Buick had to commit on the outside. Vauban quick and smartly to get there, and then I think pulled himself up and he went by the line, and Al Nair got to him. I thought Vauban ran around the bend with Al Nair. Then they pulled well clear of Gregory. Point Lonsdale was really disappointed on that occasion. He faded out of the race completely, but God, Giavelletto's getting himself into a right stew, isn't he? You know, he had a red hood on him, so he has a tendency to get himself on edge. But I'd imagine Oisin is going to sit him in. Vauban, or Giavelletto, sat behind Vauban in the Yorkshire Cup, but I wouldn't be surprised if William wanted to sit behind Oisin on this occasion.
Yes, and that was over today's trip of 1.6 miles. What's your feeling about Vauban distance-wise? Do you think 1.6 miles or 2 miles would be his optimal?
Yeah, it looked like he didn't stay in the Ascot Gold Cup, Gary, but that's at 2.5 miles. He got to the home turn with his chance.
Yeah, he was moving well to that point.
He was moving well to that point. Like, that's 3 down, so you'd have to say he got 2 miles or 2-1 on that occasion. Obviously didn't get the last furlong at Ascot, or last furlong and a half even, but look, that was against Kyprios in the biggest day-in race. I thought Kyprios was really good at Goodwood, back over 2 miles when he beat Sweet William. There is the second of the German runners, Nastaria, getting a little worked up. I wonder, will Miguel Lopez copy Oisin Murphy now, just jump off and lead him forward? No, he doesn't have to. He's going forward of his own accord. But I think both of these German horses, Gary, were placed in a race that Comer Group sponsored in Hoppegarden back in May time, and I think for finishing in the money there, you had an invitation to come to the Irish St. Leger, so both German runners have come, and I can't remember many German runners here before, can you?
No, I can't. Then again, I struggle to remember a lot of stuff these days.
There's a pair of us in that one.
There is Kyprios then, the preeminent stayer of the current era, and Ryan Moore, the Euphrates, just in front.
I'd have no worries about Kyprios at the trip, would you?
No, none whatsoever, no.
No, me neither.
I think it doesn't matter, 1.6 miles to 2.5 miles, all seems to come alike to him.
There was art talk about him at one stage, was there?
And we have seen a few of the good stayers having a go in an arc, haven't we? The Stradivarius, obviously Aidan's done it with Order St. George, leading Light, ran in it.
Yeah.
Probably a few more that I'm maybe neglecting to mention. How do you think he would get on? Might not be a vintage Arc this year, actually, either. Sozi's gone favourite, I think, after winning over in France today.
Yeah, I think I saw 2 horses in Leopardstown yesterday. The 3rd and 4th, Shin Emperor in Los Angeles.
Shin Emperor ran some race. You hit the nail on the head earlier on.
Los Angeles as well. I don't know if Kipri has the gears for an Arc, but this is an Irish St. Ledger. I'd say he's plenty fast enough to win this.
Exactly. He's won it before. He was second last year after...
Gia Valletto wants to come out the side of the stall. I'd be getting the Goshi's looking for a little bit of help here. Definitely wants his head back the other side of the bar.
Yes, let's hope he's looking in the right direction when the gates fly open. Giavallotto, the handler's on the scene to give him a bit of a dig out. Kyprios looks like being the final one.
They're off in the Comer Group International Irish St. Ledger with an English runner and 2 from Germany, very much adding an international dimension. It's the Euphrates who leads up stable companion Kyprios, the end of a furlong, racing together. Giavallotto and Nastaria, and then Vauban and Valdadler. Continuing on over on the far side as they race the end of the first quarter, and striding on by 3.5 lengths, the Euphrates and Wayne Lordan, followed in second place by Kyprios and Ryan Moore. Just third is Giavallotto and Oisin Murphy from Nastaria and Miguel Lopez, and then Valdadler, Shemi Heffernan with 6th of the 6th, Vauban and William Buick. Very few changes with the leader, the Euphrates, by less than 3 lengths to Kyprios, bidding to win back the race, having finished second last year, the winner the year before. Just third now is Nastaria from Giavallotto, Valdadler, and Vauban are the final couple. Racing inside the final 9 furlongs, and it's the Euphrates by a couple of lengths to Kyprios. Then Nastaria, the noseband of Giavallotto. Next on the inside is Valdadler, and trailing the field at the end of the opening 3/4 of a mile is Vauban. As they tighten up, the Euphrates with a greatly reduced advantage over stable companion Kyprios. Valdadler is taking closer order on the inside as they climb uphill past the 7 furlong point, marking the halfway stage. And then Nastaria, Giavallotto, and Vauban. It's the Euphrates by less than a length now to Kyprios as they come inside the final 6 furlongs, racing together. The 2 German runners, Nastaria and Valdadler. In between horses is Giavallotto and a couple of lengths to Vauban, the right at the top of the track. In the Comer Group International Irish St. Ledger. Matching strides now with 5 to run, the Euphrates and Kyprios on terms, followed by Valdadler, and then Nastaria, Giavallotto, and Vauban, beginning the downhill run for the home straight with 4 furlongs to go. And as Kyprios went out from the rail, on the inside in the greens is the Euphrates, who still just shades it. The Nastaria, tracked for the approach to the straight by Giavallotto. Valdadler falls back on the inside, and finally Vauban, they're in the straight. Less than 3 furlongs to go. The Euphrates and Kyprios continuing 1 and 2, being followed after a break 2 lengths Giavallotto, then Vauban, who's up in a 4th from last. It's Kyprios who just picks it up from the Euphrates. 2 clear to Vauban and Giavallotto, leaving behind Nastaria and Valdadler. It's Kyprios, fractional leader inside the final furlong, and now moves on from the Euphrates. Vauban, Giavallotto next on the outside, but it is Kyprios, the superstar sayer, reclaims the Irish St. Ledger. Second is Vauban, third is Giavallotto and the Euphrates, and 4th, 5th and 6th respectively Nastaria and Valdadler.
Yes, it is indeed a second win in the Irish St. Ledger for Kyprios, the 5-2 on favourite, who, as per usual, digs deep to fend off some would-be rivals up the home straight here at the Curragh. Big run from Vauban in second, Ruby. I'm sure very, very pleased with that effort from him, with Melbourne in mind. No disgrace finishing second to one of the real great stayers.
No, exactly. Giavallotto back in third, and the Euphrates, who cut out the pace, was 4th. But look, Kyprios just gets the job done, Gary, doesn't he? Wins back there, not back.
Unbelievable. What a horse he has been for Connections. He actually won last time out. That was at York, over the 10 furlongs. Just a little bit over the 10 furlongs. He has to carry a £4 penalty for that, Alex. And I suppose he's one of them horses that could just rock up again.
But because of his age, it means the penalty is £4 rather than £6 or £7 because there is an age-associated penalty. But one thing he had at York, which was a big benefit in an amateur's race, was Simon Walker was on him, and he's worth pounds, isn't he?
Absolutely, yes. He's the go-to man, really, in those races.
And this horse generally has been seen over a shorter trip. I know that he's 9 now, he won't be getting any quicker, but this is really going to test his stamina, isn't it, today?
Yeah, it really is. I've got something else with the number 17 with him, but I can't